12 homes have been destroyed and more than 20 people have been injured in a major bushfire in the Adelaide Hills. Sallese Gibson reports an emergency warning has been reduced to a watch and act.
The South Australian Premier, Jay Weatherill, says 12 homes have been destroyed in the fire, which has so far burnt through more than 11,500 hectares northeast of Adelaide. There are fears another 20 homes have also been lost. Mr Weatherill says there have been no serious injuries, but 22 people have suffered minor injuries.
The majority of them have been firefighters.
Greg Nettleton from the Country Fire Service says today's conditions will help firefighters.
Our focus today will be to work on containing the perimeter of the fire to halt the forward rate of spread.
The CFS hopes people who evacuated will be able to return to their homes soon.
Residents evacuated from a major bushfire in the Adelaide Hills have started to return to their properties. Sallese Gibson reports the fire has so far burnt through more than 11,500 hectares northeast of Adelaide.
12 homes have been destroyed in the fire, with fears another 20 could have also been lost. Greg Nettleton from the Country Fire Service says while conditions have eased, the fire is still extremely dangerous.
We've reduced our warning from an emergency warning to a watch and act. That doesn't mean that you can switch off.
Meg Smythe returned to Gummaraka this morning after evacuating her property yesterday.
It's a bit of a shock to us, yes. We didn't realise that it had come so close.
The South Australian Premier, Jay Weatherill, is touring the area to assess the damage. He says emergency services are working to clear the roads of trees and debris so that people can return to their properties.
More than 500 firefighters are trying to bring under control the bushfire that's destroyed at least 12 homes northeast of Adelaide. Sallese Gibson reports.
There are fears a further 20 homes may also have been lost, with the fire burning through nearly 12,500 hectares of grass and scrubland. The coordinator of the South Australian Country Fire Service, Brenton Eden, says it's trying to secure the 238-kilometre perimeter of the fire ahead of forecast high temperatures and strong winds tomorrow.
That's our number one priority, to make sure that this fire does not grow in size.
More reinforcements will arrive from both New South Wales and Victoria before weather conditions deteriorate.
More than 500 firefighters from 3 states are trying to bring under control a bushfire burning northeast of Adelaide before temperatures rise in coming days. Sallese Gibson reports.
12 homes have been destroyed by the fire, with fears 20 more may also have been lost. South Australia's Country Fire Service says the fire has so far burnt 12,500 hectares of grass and scrubland. Its state coordinator, Brenton Eden, says more crews are being brought in from New South Wales and Victoria ahead of 38-degree heat tomorrow.
South Australia is heading for high temperatures Tuesday, Wednesday, back into the 38s. Northerly winds, not the conditions that we want.
He says crews are focusing on securing the fire's 238-kilometre perimeter.
Damage assessment teams are entering the fireground of the bushfire still burning out of control northeast of Adelaide. Sallese Gibson reports.
South Australian police say another home, making 13 in all, are now known to have been destroyed by the fire. The Police Commissioner Gary Burns expects the number of property losses to increase later today as 15 damage assessment teams get further into the fireground.
We're expecting that we'll have a pretty good appreciation of the property losses when it comes to structural buildings.
The Adelaide Hills Council will consider a rates remission for those affected. It'll also support the volunteer-based organisation Blaze Aid, which helps farmers to rebuild fences and manage their stock.
Firefighters are concentrating on a flare-up in a bushfire still burning out of control northeast of Adelaide. Sallese Gibson reports.
The Assistant Chief Officer of the South Australian Country Fire Service, Malin Watts, says firefighters are focusing on the southern end of the fire, which is spreading.
So that's pushing along some of the up the hill slopes. So we've got crews in there at the moment just trying to quieten that down.
Mr Watts says properties are still under threat. 13 homes are known to have been destroyed, and the number is expected to rise later today as damage assessment crews go further into the fireground. More than 700 firefighters are battling the blaze, with more interstate crews expected to arrive.
Firefighters are trying to secure the 240-kilometre perimeter of a bushfire burning out of control for the 5th day northeast of Adelaide. Sallese Gibson reports.
At least 26 homes and 41 outbuildings have been destroyed or badly damaged, but that's expected to rise as more damage assessments are made. The fire has so far burnt through nearly 12,500 hectares of grass and scrubland. Brenton Eden from the South Australian Country Fire Service says cooler overnight conditions have helped 250 firefighters to prevent the fire from spreading.
It's been a good night for us, around about 17 degrees, so much better conditions to be working as a firefighter than perhaps it was 3 days ago in the high 40s.
Meanwhile, the Weather Bureau has issued a flood watch for parts of South Australia's far north, with up to 200 millimetres of rain forecast over 3 days, starting on Thursday.